Kamil, thank you for joining me. Thanks so much. Nice to see you. How are you?
Thank you, Juan Carlos. It's a pleasure. I'm good. Thank you very much. I hope you're the same.
Yes, yes, doing okay. Um, Hot today. It's quite warm here, and
It
I'm
is.
not
Yeah.
so used to that anymore.
Okay. We have 26 degrees here in Warsaw, so it's not that bad. But
No,
it's
no, we
coming.
are
It's coming. It's
28
coming.
here.
Oh,
It's
okay.
coming. Yeah, yeah. Don't worry. We'll come. We have 28, and I feel like 32. It's warm.
Okay.
Coming from a warm country, it sounds weird that I'm complaining about the weather.
It's maybe that's why you moved to Europe. Looking for some
You know,
cooler, cooler.
I was younger. I said, I'm coming to Europe and it's cold and it's gonna be super. But the older I get, I like too cold sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, tell me something. Tell me something. Why did you started working with the Latin market?
Why? Well, it's a mm, mm, long story, I would say, but I started working in exporting in 2010. I started working with mainly European countries. I used to work with Spain, with Turkey, with the Czech Republic, Italy, some other countries. Back then. During this let's say adventure, I thought that it might be interesting to use my Spanish in a wider, let's say, scale, and decided to look for something that would connect me with Latin America. And previously I had a history, with people from Colombia. I used to have back then many friends from Colombia. I have them until today. But I knew that people from Latin America were my people. So
Yeah,
wanted to
I
join
understand.
something personal with my Spanish, and with something unique with for me in labor market. So I decided to look for a job that would connect me with Latin America, and I found it finally in 2012, where I started working as an export manager for a company, Polish company manufacturer, and I was responsible from the very beginning for the whole Latin American market. And this is how it started.
Huh. And when was born Latam Consulting?
Latam Consulting was born in my head very early. It was born, when I started working with Latin America almost immediately. But I was ready to do it in 2019, just 1 year before the pandemic. I decided that it's a right time to start my own company.
So just before COVID.
Yeah, 1 year, actually more or less 1 year, 10 months before
I think
before COVID.
it was perfect because you have time to warm up into what you were going to do. And then when the wave came, you were already prepared to confront it.
That's somehow true, and I'm glad that I started, because I don't know if I'd start when it all happened, when it all started. So yeah, that was maybe the last possible moment, and it was a good moment to
When
start.
you started working with Latam, did you have customers already? I mean, you came with customers already, or it was a customer that gave you the incentive to start doing Latam Consulting?
Well, no, I didn't have any customers back then. I just I had a hope that I would get many of them soon. I did my research, and I tried to do everything as I imagined that would functioning, and new customers. So no, I started without having any customers, but I started getting some corporations with new customers really quick. Actually, 1 month after I started the company, I started to have.
Oh, that was very fast.
I signed first agreement with a customer
Wow.
from South Africa,
From
which
South
is,
Africa
yeah,
wanting to go to Latam.
that's true. That's true. That's
Wow.
funny as it may seem.
Yes, yes, because you are in the middle of Europe and then somebody from South Africa asks you to sell in
Yeah,
Latam.
yeah.
Wow.
We got a good chemistry with Graham, which decided to use my services, and it was a good project. It was a good project. I helped them, actually organized for them a trade mission to Chile for a trade show. So it was a
Wow.
my first project.
I imagine that for you, coming with European countries and tell them, I'm selling in the Latin market, they kind of see you in a strange way because Latin market still sounds very far culturally and in distance. So what is the impression that you have from customers?
Depends. Well, you're right with your feeling because for an average, a European company from Czech Republic, Poland, Germany, France, let's say the natural environment is to sell in their mother country, then to go abroad nearby, let's say, to neighboring countries, and then further in the EU, because it's easy comparing to other areas to sell in the EU. Then maybe to Dubai, Emirates, maybe to some countries like before the war, Russia. Now it's difficult and it's
Yeah,
complicated. But maybe some Asian countries, and then of course the United States.
yeah.
It's a market that everyone wants to
Everywhere wants to
go
go.
to.
Yeah, yeah.
And then when they just look around, then they realize there is Latin America as well. So maybe we'll try to get there. But there are some exceptions from that. There are companies that have certain type of let's say product that is really suited for Latin America, and these are the exceptions that these companies want to sell in Latin America because they know that there is a big market, for example, for security equipment, right?
Yeah,
It's a perfect
yeah.
market for.
Security makes sense. Latin America is not a very safe place in big cities. Is difficult. So yeah, security makes sense.
Yeah, you're right. Coming back to your questions, because I realized I didn't answer it. It's sometimes difficult to get to the right companies in encountering this kind of synergy that they want to go there. I work there and I can help them. Because I managed to find these companies, and sometimes they find me, which is also nice.
Yes, yes. For you personally, what are the main cultural differences between doing business with people in Latin America and doing business with people in Europe?
Europe is more in general because there are huge differences between, I don't know, Scandinavia and Italy, or Spain and Germany, of course. Europe is more, I would say, purely business oriented.
Hmm.
Latin America is more relationship oriented, meaning if you want to, please tell me if I'm right or wrong, but my feeling and my experience is that if you want to do effective business in Latin America, you have to be open to get into relation with these people. You find some time to get to know them, not
Get to know
only
them.
not only professionally but also personally. I mean, go with them for dinner, to have a beer, grab a beer or two, just invite them to your house, go to their house, meet the family, etc., etc. This is the main difference I see between Europe in general and Latin America.
Yeah, yeah. I think that for Latins to build on trust is very important. It's necessary for Latins to feel comfortable and
Yep.
trust the person they're going to do business with. Yeah, it's more building the relationship. Are you helping companies from Latam to do business in Europe, or it's only from Europe to Latam?
Well, it's mainly, to be honest, mainly it's from Europe to Europe and South Africa, as you heard, going to Latin America because it's my focus. I decided to work that way, and I feel more comfortable doing the business this in this
Only
direction.
on that direction. Yeah.
Yes, I had some cooperations, some discussions on cooperation with Latin American companies, but it wasn't that effective. We didn't manage, to get to an agreement.
For you, it was more convenient to do business from Europe to the Latin American countries than on the way here. However, I think you are helping European companies to do business within the European countries, right?
Well, yeah, that's because one side of our services is to help companies from Europe, outside Europe as well, to enter Latin America or expand into Latin America. But we also help companies from Poland, other European countries to expand into other European countries. So we help
Mhm.
companies from Poland to expand into Germany, France, Italy, Spain, Portugal, Scandinavia, you name it. And we help also companies from abroad enter Polish market. We do that as well.
My next question is, how do you do it? If I am a company in Europe and I want to do business in Latam, in the Latin American countries, do I need somebody in my company to speak Spanish, or do I need to come to you with a case study, or how should I approach you to start doing business?
You know that's part of initial evaluation. We before we start working with the company, we evaluate their resources, internal resources regarding their let's say a level of preparation to start a business to expand into Latin America. Because in order to be effective in this task to expand effectively in Latin America, it's important to have some things done beforehand. I mean, it's good to have marketing materials translated into Spanish. It's good to have, let's say, at least a person that speaks Spanish inside the company. But if the company doesn't have a person that speaks Spanish, we are prepared, to fill it up for this person. We create different kind of a service that than in case if a company has a Spanish speaking person inside. So these are these important factor. Also, we try to give a heads up to our customer that there are different working hours in Latin America and
Yeah.
in Europe. Because, for example, while we are speaking right now, Mexico is still sleeping, and
So
so
yes. Yeah.
so they are awakened when we actually Europe is finishing their Labor Day. So before approaching Latin America, it's good to have it in mind as well.
Yeah, to consider that. I mean, probably you will have to be working until 10, 11 p.m. at least.
It happens. It happens.
Yeah.
So yeah, we want our customer to know that as well. And answering your questions, we are prepared for both scenarios. So regardless, if the company has a Spanish or Portuguese speaking person inside or not, we are prepared to offer appropriate service. Yeah.
Yeah. So if I am a company, an European company who wants to do business in any Latin country, and I come looking for you, I should prepare myself with marketing materials in Spanish, with my pitch deck, with whatever I can give you for you to send this to your customers, and preferably to have somebody who speaks the language, right? And also be prepared with the time change.
I would prefer to first speak with the company, sit down, look down what we have, what they want to have, what are the resources, what are the marketing materials, because it's also maybe not the best idea to translate everything and prepare everything in Spanish beforehand, spend a lot of money. No, as I mentioned, it's good to do this assessment, initial assessment before what we have, what kind of marketing materials we have. Maybe we need some just some leaflet. We don't need to translate the whole catalog. We don't need to translate movies. We don't need to prepare separate set of marketing materials to start our activities. We can do it on the way. So it's good to sit down and consider what is minimum but enough to do to start our activities.
Yeah, because I think that the way you approach customers in Europe is not the same way you approach customers in Latin America. And your product, the way you sell your product in Europe, it will sell differently in Latin America. Am I right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And we take that into account when we prepare with our customers, the marketing materials, the whole communication for Latin American customers. I mean, the tools we use are different with Latin America. So yeah, so this is it needs a slightly different approach.
Many companies in Europe, and I know this as a fact because it happened to me. Most of the companies, they want to work with somebody who will work only by commission. So they come to you and they say, yes, amazing. I want to work with Latin America. I give you 20% commission and good luck with you. But what do you think about this approach?
Well, maybe for some companies it's a good approach. I'm not criticizing that, but we don't work that way. I'll tell you why. We work with our customers preparing tailor-made projects, I would say. I mean,
Yeah.
each project we've done is different, and we didn't do the same project twice because mm, companies have different strategies. Companies have different level of development. They have different internal resources. For example, this Spanish-speaking people, right? One company has or employs people that speak Spanish. The other company doesn't. It determines many things, and also we are responsible for part of the sales process. For example, we part of our service is to prepare business analysis, market research, and then after preparing a tailor-made market research, the second step could be, for example, lead generation. We look for adequate distributors, let's say, in Latin American markets, and in these processes, we can be responsible only for a certain part of it, where we can be sure that we have 100% responsibility for that, meaning it depends on us whether we generate a lead that is well qualified. Then the other part of the process, whether the lead or the company that we found for our customer buy, depends on so many factors, meaning prices, meaning general conditions, business conditions, logistics, minimum order quantities, so many things that doesn't depend on us, that we cannot take responsibility working only for commissions. This would make our business really inefficient, and we would be depending on factors that are not in our control. So this is the main factor why we don't usually agree on.
I think it's important that there is a commitment from both sides.
That's
That's
other
very important. Yeah.
that's other thing, that when the company employs, let's say, an agent or other company that decides to work only on commission, they say, okay, go ahead, and they forget because they don't commit in any way. If you bring them some business, it's great. Yeah, right. It's you will earn, they will earn, but they don't put anything in the common basket. So they don't feel this connection, they don't feel this synergy responsibility for the business. From my experience, this kind of business adjustments don't work well in our case, but I don't say that they never work well.
There is a disconnection between the two players, because the lack of commitment makes you go and look for whatever is like the hanging tree, the hanging fruit from the tree, not the lowest hanging fruit. Whatever it is that brings you an income faster is what you're going to do if you only work by commission.
Yeah, that's another factor,
Yeah.
which is
Kamil, I would love to hear a story from one customer. You don't need to give me the name, but any story that you want to share with us about any special customers, products that has been challenging for you, that had a happy ending.
Yeah, that's a nice question, and quite interesting one. Well, sure, we had a customer. We still are working with this customer. We've been working for 2.5 years, maybe 3 years. It's a company from Wrocław, from Poland. They manufacture special equipment, security equipment for, let's say, sorry for the specialized language, but it's for perimeter protection, meaning it's for protection of the solar, for example, solar farms. And when you have a solar farm, it sometimes happens that people get there and rob the solar panel.
Panels,
So
yes.
you need to protect this area. And there are different ways. There are cameras, there's the microwaves, whatever, and they have special solution based on a cable that when rubber shakes the fans, the sensors that are put on the cable, they basically trigger an alarm.
The alarm. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a very it's beautiful because when I saw it, I realized that it's a equipment perfectly made for Latin America. It's
Yeah.
simple, it's effective, it doesn't need very robust and complicated assistance. It's easy to configure, so it has certain qualities that are let's say recommended for Latin America. And I met with this company and we decided to cooperate. And long story short, I think after 8 months of our cooperation, we started selling the equipment in Peru. In Poland, this equipment is, I think, 100%, maybe not, 90-80% cases, it is used for solar farms. In Peru, they started installing this equipment to protect the, let's say, critical infrastructure in gold mines. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, so it is used for different purposes, but it's equally effective. Now it has been installed in some other places like petrol factory, some other spots, but our partner in Peru started with installing it in gold mines. So it's an interesting case.
Yeah, it is. I mean, talking about how products sell differently between Europe and Latam, this is the perfect example for that.
Yeah, and the crucial factors in this success story with this equipment was what I said. It was simple, it was easy, it was effective, eliminated many false alarms, which is a problem all over the world. When I saw it, I knew it was tailored perfectly for Latin America.
Kamil, if companies in Europe were to look for you, what will be the size that is important for you to work with? Because I don't think very small companies, those companies that are starting, will be the ideal customer for you. For what I understand, you not only need the human resources, but you also need to have a bit of budget to work with you. So, what will be the perfect company for you? What will be the ideal company for you?
Yeah, well, it's interesting, Juan Carlos, because to be honest, we've been working with companies of very different sizes. I mean, we work with companies from the turnover of 5 million euro, and we've been working with companies of a turnover of 250 million euros. It's
Yeah,
quite
it's big difference.
wide the range of the companies, but usually we work with companies that have turnover between 10 and 50 million euro. That's a company that already usually already exports and sell their products or services sometimes in Europe, in other areas, and are looking for a market in Latin America. That's a typical company that we work with.
And what will be your advice for small companies, as companies doesn't have the budget to come with you, but they want to go to the Latin countries or the US? What will be your advice? How they should prepare to go to those markets?
I would say that if they export, it's great because they have already some previous experiences regarding exporting to different areas than Latin America, which is not the easiest area to export to be honest,
Yeah.
as we both know.
Yeah.
So it's good for this company to have some previous history regarding exporting to other. Also, it's good that they need to have some minimum budget for this. They need to be prepared that going to Latin America, it's hard to be prepared to succeed in 1 month, 2 months, not even half a year. It's not enough. It's a long a long-term adventure. You have to build a strategy. You have to, prepare yourself. At least check the markets that you want to start with. I mean, they don't need to know. We know that, and we can check that for them. Whether, for example, why Brazil is more difficult usually than Colombia or Chile, right?
Yeah.
Whether you want to start with, I don't know, Mexico, or you want to start with Peru, and why? Because it can happen that this both these markets could be good for a company. For example, if you have mining equipment, it's the best idea to start with Peru or Chile. And when you have automotive equipment, it's maybe good to look for partners firstly in Mexico, which is a huge automotive manufacturer. So, this kind of factors matter.
Do you think it's rewarding to go to the Latin countries? It's economically rewarding?
Of course, it depends, because it's rewarding when you are prepared, when you know what you're doing, when you know why you're going to Latin America, when you have a appropriate budget for this endeavor, when you know that, for example, when you have a proper strategy developed, when you are prepared to modify this strategy, I mean, on the way, when you get to know some information from the market which tell you that what you have been doing so far is not rewarding, you have to be prepared to modify the strategy. In that case, Latin America can be very, very rewarding. I used to work with companies that gained 40, 50% of their niche in Colombia. So it was a very good market for them. Actually, it was, I think, from what I remember, it was the second best market in their portfolio, also taking into account Polish market. So it was really, really good business.
Do you have a company that sells more in Latin America than what they sell in Europe?
Yeah, I know that company. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's not far-fetched to think that a good product can really be successful in Latin America
Of course.
and make your company valuable and successful, not only here in Europe.
Sure. Latin America is much less saturated with products than European markets. So it's easier sometimes to find a niche for you in Latin America than to find it in Europe, because here you have red ocean everywhere. You have to fight, you have to struggle. You have to take a look in product, do the market research, which we always recommend to our customers. Look into your sector, your market in a target Latin American country to check the rules, how the market behaves, because it could behave in a really different way than in European countries. So it's always good to check. But
One last thing, my dear Camille, it would be okay for you if share your information for people that want to know more and want to contact you,
with
probably
pleasure.
look for your services.
Yeah, that would be a pleasure for me. Of course, go ahead, and I'll be pleased to contact them and to answer their questions or doubts, and or help them in any way I can.
Camille, I am really grateful for your time, for the experience, and for helping us understand better the Latin markets. I think it's a super interesting place to go. Full of surprises, but I think also very pleasant surprises. And it's also a pleasure to go. I mean, going to Latin America, people is amazingly welcoming. It's difficult to get bored in Latin America, I would say.
Oh yes. That's the first thing that we should start with. We started talking about business, etc. But it's a real pleasure to be there. It's doing business with these people. Talking to them, being there. It's a pleasure. It's a pure pleasure when you are open-minded and you like relationships, you like food, and you're an easygoing person. It's a purely pleasure to be in Latin America, to be around Latin people. Also, only due to this fact, I would recommend to check.
Yeah, absolutely.
Latin America.
I believe I am with you. And actually, I think that for whoever wants to venture to those markets, consider that whenever they are going to go to Latin America, they should take some days off and enjoy the country. I mean, wherever,
Definitely.
any country they are
Definitely.
going. Yeah,
It's a crime when you go 10,000 kilometers to a place in Latin America and you don't have one day off or 2 days off, you know, to
exactly,
just
to enjoy
feel the culture and enjoy yourself.
and eat the food. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
get ready because some countries we like our food spicy, but it's worth it.
Oh yes, Mexican spice is quite different than anything that you can try European, which is
Yes.
considered spicy.
Yeah,
It's a different story.
it makes you challenge your senses, I
Oh
will say.
yes, true that. True that.
Camille, again, thank you. Thanks so much. It was really nice having you here. And I hope this is not the last time.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure, pure pleasure for me. And of course, if you want to do another interview, I'll be more than happy.
Thanks so much, my dear Camille. And I will see you soon.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Take care. Bye
Thank
bye.
you.